want to dig into yesterday's charges by the European Commission against Meta. Joining us right now is Aneesh Chopra, who is former Chief Technology Officer for President Obama, currently the president of CareJourney. Aneesh, these charges that the European Union brought yesterday came as a surprise to me, at least. They're really digging into competitive issues, looking at the online ad marketplace. I think the biggest surprise came that if they are successful in their charges against this, they could ask for fines that reach up to 10% of the company's global revenue. It's a huge number. Something like $11.8 billion would be 10% of their revenue from last year. Did this come as a surprise to you, or should we have been seeing the signs that this was on the way?
Well, the investigation was opened almost a year and a half ago. And when you're exploring markets in the digital economy and you're trying to put the old rules of the road in place, you'll uncover opportunities like what you saw this week, where conversations about how we use information might be a factor in determining whether or not companies have violated rules. So this is a little bit of a square peg, round hole, which is why, Becky, I think you've been struggling with whether this was expected or not, because you're sort of digging in under the hood to say, did access to information about how people interacted with ads on the general Facebook newsfeed, so to speak, influence how Facebook built a competing product? And might that be the case that ripples over into other conditions that we're seeing in the United States on Amazon's marketplace and the like?
Okay, so how seriously should investors be taking this? Is it likely that they will, first of all, find against them? Will they be successful? And second of all, will they go for that big of a fine?
Oh, I don't think there's much I'd be worried about the $11 billion fine. That's a policy signal about the importance of understanding what's driving online behavior. My bigger perception here is that data as a vehicle for anti-competitive behavior will be a theme that will cut across all sectors of big tech, all companies that are leading in big tech. So I would think of this more as a long-term kind of, depending on your view, opportunity for competitive products to come to market or to reinforce the dominance. And so pay attention to where the data, the research and investigation on how data is used or misused, because it's going to be far bigger than any specific transaction inside Meta. So I wouldn't think about the 11 billion. I would think about uncovering what data is doing in the competitive marketplace online.
But then you have to think as a shareholder back to the idea of what that means competitively in the future, what these companies will and won't be able to do. We've already heard about Apple potentially making some changes to its App Store to comply with some European rules. Will American companies be less dominant as a result? Will they not be able to compete the same way, or is this just a temporary kind of setback?
Look, my hope is that we're moving towards more innovation, more creativity. And so when you have apps that we saw emerge the last decade or so, like a Facebook and others, in some cases, when they become so big, they become almost like infrastructure. And as a result, the ability for the next generation of apps to come to market may be prohibited. So
Are the next generation of apps also coming from the United States, or is it going to be
Correct.
More of a global competition?
Well, for sure, these actions in Europe are to create more market dynamics for European companies. But if you look at our core DNA in America, we have the talent, the infrastructure, the capabilities. So I would bet more on innovative firms that are coming up in the American marketplace having a better shot at competition if competition policy succeeds. And it is a bipartisan policy issue to make sure there's an opportunity for new entrants to come in to play. So think of this as bullish on long-term American innovation if we get the rules of the road right.